Perhaps the greatest challenge for a pastoral counselor is to be and stay healthy while supporting the congregation to do the same. Insurance claims from ministers indicate that they are at risk for physical and psychological illness at a rate above the general population. Stress studies indicate that ministers have a stress-prone occupation due to several characteristics of the job. Among the three most important stressors are: number one, working alone with little maintaining support whom to share ideas and concerns. Number two, stress of maintaining confidence and requirements to minister effectively without revealing the confidences. And third, public expectations of excellence and sometimes perfection. Though in recent years that expectation has been lowered some. It is hard to encourage health in the congregation when it is not practiced by oneself. Practicing the following self-disciplines creates a buffer against stress-related illnesses. Consider the following for your own self-care. First, practice spiritual disciplines. It is often assumed counselors maintain spiritual disciplines. However, pastoral counselors need to be intentional about their personal practice of spiritual disciplines. Spiritual disciplines that have a direct benefit on stress reduction include meditation, relaxation processes, contemplative prayer, journaling, meeting with a spiritual director, fasting, days of silence, and observing daily liturgies or scripture study. Another self-care strategy is to find your own rhythm, but build a schedule for renewal that includes daily, weekly, and monthly time, with a year-long sabbatical every 6 to 8 years. Time out or time away is not time for sermon preparation, but for time to seek and think about other things. It is time to reflect on what you are, what is fun in your life, and to regain the energy spent in ministry. It is often in our downtime, when we let our minds and imaginations wander, that often the most unexpected yet potentially profound insights or daydreams drift into our consciousness. Our most creative and potentially transformative moments are gifted to us when our psychics are not straining and our days uncluttered with activity and striving. If you already walk or run regularly, good for you. If not, it's time to start. If you've been inactive, check with your physician before you begin to work out strenuously. Walking will give you the most of the benefits of running without the wear and tear on your joints. Walking at a brisk pace, about 3 to 3.5 miles per hour, will bring your heart rate up to about 120 beats per minute. If your resting heart rate is now about 90, you will lower that number to less than 70 after a month of exercise. That means your heart will likely last longer. And other physical exercise you can do regularly will also increase your stress hardiness. You will do your body a favor if you reduce your consumption of sugar, salt, white flour, and saturated fat. The more weight you carry because of the intake of these 4 items, the shorter your lifespan. Get your physician's advice on what program you need for physical health. Brain science has shown that reading in a discipline different than your own helps prepare the brain for better problem solving. For example, if you're an engineer by training, read in the field of poetry. If your training is theological, read in a field that uses its hands to create things. Many pastors have read little since seminary or their required days of study. Limiting your brain's exercise is like refusing to walk. If you sit all the time, you will eventually be unable to walk. If we are to help others find meaning and purpose in life, can we do so without having an awareness of what nurtures, invigorates, and brings us to life? If we are to enable healing and restoration in others, how aware are we of what soothes our soul and aids us in our journey towards wholeness? How much time and space do we intentionally make to meet our own spiritual needs? What inner resources will we have to care for others in our professional and private lives, let alone ourselves? What gives us direction and fulfillment in life will not be the same for us as for the next person. But to reflect on such things is not only a reminder that we need to invest in and attend to meaningful activities. In addition, it gives us an appreciation of how significant the spiritual dimension is for enabling human resilience and flourishing. We need to find what gives our particular lives meaning and purpose, and not just rely on received meaning from authority figures in our formative years. To live a life merely enabling vicarious fulfillment or to prioritize meeting the needs of others in our personal or family lives is to suppress the expression of our true selves. To find meaning and purpose in providing spiritual and pastoral care is to fulfill a vocational role. It is indeed a special thing, a gift to be treasured and nurtured. Not everybody performs significant roles in their lives, especially ones which dominate their waking hours during the week, which they find fulfilling. To find meaning in any role is to be able to utilize our particular God-given gifts to the best of our ability in the context in which we are working. Caring for another is never completely altruistic. Part of our motivation is undoubtedly to fulfill our need to be needed and a means to find purpose and fulfillment. Worship as an integral activity in our weekly rhythm helps pastoral counselors to continue to hone and reform who we are and how we relate. It affords us the opportunity to communally express and renew our faith as well as to question and grow. In worship, we have the opportunity to deepen our self-understanding of who we are as God's people, both corporately and individually. The ability or not to be still and silent may be a gauge as to what extent we are comfortable with being who we are, with living in our own skin, and the degree of disquiet or stress in our lives at any one time. In being still and being quiet on our own, we not only have the opportunity to observe the primroses and violets around us and enjoy the warmth of the sun, we are also faced with ourselves. A crucial element in enabling an ongoing, deepening understanding of self and how we relate to others and to God is the establishment of relationships with trusted others which have an explicit understanding that these issues are the reason for the relationship itself. The people whose company we seek out, and may indeed enter formal covenants or contracts with, enable us to intentionally reflect on our practice with them, are not just friends or acquaintances. They are people who have natural abilities, training, experience, skills, and knowledge that enable them to create a safe place in which we can explore our practice and its impact on our personhood, our beliefs, values, and self-understanding. The concept of holy friendships is more than just having a buddy with whom we can trust ourselves and our faith and doubts. These are companions who not only share life and glimpses of the transcendent along the road, but also have the desire to understand our unique perceptions and perspectives. In addition, such friends are willing, with integrity, to help deepen our engagement with self, God, and experience. Such friendships involve reciprocity, a desire for truth-telling, mutual respect, and love. Journaling may be a tool which enhances our awareness and deepens our understanding of the roles we perceive we have, the roles we construct with others for ourselves and them, and the roles they demand or require of us. Journaling may enable a more introverted person to express and lay out aspects of their inner selves which they would not easily articulate to another, even in confidence. Journaling can also be a helpful way of noticing and naming losses before they become accumulative and harmful. It can be a helpful way of monitoring patterns of our mood, our energy levels, and our ability to engage in meaningful ways with others. If we, or those whom we share our journal writings and inner selves, observe warning signs of disengagement or weariness, we can then take restorative action. As we mature as individuals, discovering in the company and with the aid of others more about our abilities, vulnerabilities, and limitations, more about our embodied and our need for purposeful activity and play, we will not only deepen our understanding of self and enrich our relationships with others and God, we may also find ourselves more secure in the knowledge that as being beloved, we belong. As pastoral counselors, we have a role to play in enhancing the life of the world and the coming of God's kingdom. In the complex pattern that is woven to form the tapestries of our local and global communities, each one of us are an important integral thread. To develop this understanding is at the core of finding meaning in our lives. Precisely that which is at the heart of what we seek to help others do.